Uh, Abstract brainwaves, game genie in the beanie. We ain't on the same stage, leveled up. The epitome of technique, can't survive in my current thought.
Other yellow hat guy here, back with another video. And let's talk some more controversial stuff, right? You guys wanted this series to come back. And, well, while some of this stuff is like, you expect it to happen and it's not super shocking, other things like this, it shouldn't come as a surprise depending on what your diet is. Yeah, so today we're not talking one person, we're talking a corporation. So what I got here is an article from theguardian.com. And we're talking Subway. Yes. So years ago, back when I consumed fast food like that regularly, Subway was the go-to place. Why? Well, it was healthier than all the other alternatives, right? Why get burgers and fries that are greasy and gonna, move towards a heart attack in your life when you could go ahead and eat healthy, right? Turkey subs and, the Italian clubs and the meatball sandwiches, all that stuff is supposed to be leaps and bounds ahead and better for you overall than McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, and the like, right? What really got me interested in Subway was their spokesperson. Okay, so you could say, oh, sympathy for this guy? No, there's no sympathy for him. He's already serving his time for what he did, right? And yes, I'm talking about Jared Fogle for those of you who may be confused. I've got this article here because while they had the spokesperson who was advocating positivity and life changes, he lost so much weight. It was like a real person just like you and me who got a Subway diet, and Subway reached out and was like, hey, we don't need Ronald McDonald. We don't need the King. We don't need Wendy. We've got Jared. So everybody loved this guy. He made millions of dollars, had endorsements. It got me to say, you know what? Subway's a little bit more expensive. Well, let's just be honest. McDonald's had $1 menu. Subway was selling cookies for $1. And they weren't great cookies either. They were cookies that you can get from the Dollar Tree in bulk, for $1 for just one. I think they might have given you 3 for $1. I don't remember. Either way, the cookies weren't worth it. So what am I getting at? You're paying a little bit more to eat healthy. That's the theme here. But are you really eating healthy? So here's what The Guardian says. If you haven't noticed it already from the video that's up here, it says lab analysis of Subway tuna sandwiches failed to identify tuna DNA. That's crazy. New York Times commissioned tests of 60-inch worth of tuna sandwiches, but researchers were unable to pinpoint a species. So what are they really putting in here? Now, there are rumors of certain fast food chains and restaurants that don't use like the actual meat. You get a hot dog, you could be eating quail. You just don't know what you're getting. You just know that it smells and tastes good, and for the few bucks that you might have on you at the time, it can go towards one of these things that you're eating. Subway is still pretty much fast food. I know not all Subways have a drive-through, but they've made it so efficient to just cut up and layer the bread with whatever, that it's arguably fast food. And a lot of it's processed too. I'm not going to sit here and pull up facts showing you what's in each of these meats and things like that. You can do that on your own, but just know this is what this article is telling you about the tuna. So who knows what's going on with the meatball subs and everything else, right? It says a lab test commissioned by New York Times failed to identify the tuna in the sandwiches, right? A reporter acquired more than 60 inches of Subway tuna sandwiches from three Los Angeles storefronts, then engaged a specialized fish testing lab. Researchers were unable to pinpoint a species. There's two conclusions, a lab spokesperson told the Times. Wow, I just can't talk today. One, it's so heavily processed that whatever we could pull out, we couldn't make an identification. So yeah, there's so many different things going in there. They can't figure it out. It's not just tuna, it's other stuff. And why do the companies do this? Because if it was all just tuna, maybe they wouldn't be able to justify the price that they're selling it for. Whereas if they mix it in with other stuff, they could make a more profit off of that, right? Look at it like this. You ever go to somebody's house, or maybe on your own you do this, you've got your hand soap to wash your hands, and when it gets low, you have two choices. You add more to it or you throw it away. But sometimes you may not be ready to throw it away because you just don't have the time, or you keep forgetting to pick up some more hand soap. So what do? You might add some water to it to save on the hand soap, and to, use every little last bit you can to stretch that amount until you get some more. And it's not uncommon for restaurants to do something similar. You have some Kool-Aid and you're running low of it. Hey, let's just add some more water, some extra water to stretch out the amount that we have. I don't think these restaurants are above, adding different ingredients to, stretch out the available amount of the product that they're selling you. And so that's what I believe happened here at Subway. And then they've got here, or we got some and there's just nothing there that's tuna. In February, when Inside Edition ran a similar test based on samples from New York, a Florida-based lab, Applied Technologies, did confirm the presence of tuna. So there is some tuna there. In January, when 2 California customers filed a lawsuit claiming the products are made from anything but tuna. Okay. So instead, the plaintiffs alleged that the controversial comestibles are made from a mixture of various concoctions, ingredients blended together to imitate the appearance of tuna. Kind of like you might get imitation crab meat or something like that when you're getting sushi. This is what I think is what they're trying to say here. Subway has more than 22,000 storefronts across the U.S. Has been dogged by legal action, including a class action complaint that said its $5 foot-long sandwiches are in fact only 11 to 11.5 inches long. So I was getting ready to say that. So you had the controversy with Jared, but then you had the feeling for me that, hey, these are not only are they not foot longs, they had the $5 foot longs. Okay, I'm not going to sing for you guys, but there you go. They had all of those that they ran up for specials, but the commercial for food often is hyper sensualized, or just looks a lot better than the food itself. You actually go to Subway and it's like so much bread and then that much sandwich. That much bread, that much sandwich. Whereas the commercial, they've got these really nice cameras that zoom in on everything that's happening, and it's just like, oh, now my mouth is watering. Let's try that out. Anywho, it has fiercely defended the integrity of the tuna supply, calling the recent lawsuit baseless. Early this year, it touted its 100% real wild-caught tuna on its website and offered a 15% discount on foot-long tuna subs under the promo code It's Real. Early this month, California customers who sued Subway walked back some of their ancillary claims, but they still claimed labeling, marketing, and advertising for Subway's tuna products was false and misleading. The headline-making case has sparked concern among consumers and responses from competitors. I wonder if somebody's like, hey, see, they tried to brag about being healthy all this time and they really weren't. Other sandwich makers have pointed out that tuna is relatively inexpensive meat, so Subway has little incentive to substitute a cheaper version. There is that. I don't really eat tuna like that. It is cheap meat. I don't really like tuna, I should say. So I've never had their tuna sub, or any tuna subs that I can recall. So, if it's cheap meat like a Spam or something, why fake that? But again, why not? Especially in a pandemic where everything has gone up, and maybe people really come to Subway for the tuna. Who knows? But seafood experts have suggested Subway may not be to blame if its tuna is not in fact tuna. I don't think a sandwich place would intentionally mislabel, says David Rudy, the president of these Catalina offshore products. This is what he said to the Times. They're buying a can of tuna that says tuna. If there's any fraud in this case, it happened at the cannery. Okay, so we're gonna end the article there. They're just pretty much trying to sell other stuff from that point. But those are my thoughts. Like, Subway is not the best place to eat at, regardless of whether or not it's tuna or not. There's just gross amounts of information out there that says, hey, not only are these not foot longs, right? They're, overpriced sandwiches, and you're not getting what you should actually be paying for. The amount of, the actual contents of the sandwich versus the bread versus the size of the bread is not worth the value that you're paying for these sandwiches, in my opinion. So if you still eat Subway, tell me why. It's because you work at Subway, you're just attached to it. What is it? This isn't a cancel Subway video. These are just my thoughts, my opinions. Maybe you share those. If you do, let me know in the comments. What was your experience like at Subway, or what do you think of the tuna? I hope to hear from you. If I don't, remember, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Other Yellow Hat Guys out. Captain Sensation!